Hello, I'm AppyX and I am officially back from my round the world trip. You might have seen it in the last Q&A, which some are saying isn't an update video, but instead is a Japan vlog. But what's interesting is this is the biggest update week we've had in a while. We have 26.0, the first 26 update, releasing for Bedrock. We also have a brand new beta for 26.10 that has some serious issues with the brand new baby mobs. Let's talk about those designs and more. And let's also talk about how Jeb today spoke about Herobrine again for the first time in a while, while also we have lots of other sneaky reveals in these updates. Let's go into all of them today, because hello, I'm AppyX, by the way, and yes, I'm still back, and my PC is finally functioning again. I sent it off and everything should be fixed corruption-wise, but Malachi_I has their own corruption issue because they messed up the UI for Bedrock Mobile. Everything is so tiny, it's almost unplayable, and I didn't have this issue myself until I loaded up on my new PC when I assumed something had gone horribly wrong, because this is what the UI looked like to me. It is hilariously tiny, and even all of the little menus like clicking the update, for example, was so ridiculously small despite playing on a small resolution 1600 by 900. So this is apparently an issue with the smallest UI scale. Make sure to increase that, in my case to -1, and then everything will go entirely fine from there. Pro tip, turn up your UI scale. It is a bug that might take a while to fix because they're also right now busy on what is going on with zombie babies, because there are lots of issues with these. Meg Lowen says the biggest one is they can't go through one block holes anymore. This is a big issue, but one we can be relatively sure they're going to fix, because look at some of the other bugs that exist in this update. Here are the brand new baby villagers, and not only do they float in beds, but also they're missing a chin. Honestly, all of the babies look very, very intriguing to me. Here's the baby zombie, but my favorite is the baby zombie piglin. Look at him holding a sword. And it's funny because being able to say that obviously they're going to fix this because there are bugs is something that might not seem necessarily true for reasons we'll get into later. But I do think that it is something that is being actively looked at by the artist behind this update, and I could say that entirely, plainly, and you might say, well, how do you know it, Toycat? Well, here's actually how I know it, because the big issues with baby mobs isn't just that they look a bit funky, it's not just the fact that they can't fit through one block wide gaps anymore, but apparently one of the other big issues is how they wear armor. This is what they look like with armor on, and yes, that is real. Look at the boots! How does that make any sense that a pair of boots becomes that? Anyway, we got a direct developer response to this, but what I think is interesting is this comment from Elizabeth N5861, which is, I guess the theme for the spring drops seems to be stuff nobody asked for, which seems a little bit rude, but I did this YouTube poll where I asked people what they felt most needed to be updated, and just 2% of people said baby mobs. Now, to be fair, this is a little bit of a, did I just say fair like a New Zealand person? Anyway, but to be fair here, I think this is almost like rage bait, if you will, because I think people are always going to say they're less excited for something that is well defined than something that is not. This is the problem the mob vote has. We don't know what all of the failed mobs could have been like, and so we can imagine they would have been the better ones. But yeah, I think that this is still a really bad sign, but I do think that it's maybe something that is going to be fixed, and here's why. Jappa said, yay, someone cracked it. The armor is one size fits all babies, and then they got a response from the original poster here, Nova Wastra, you might know them, but with all respect, this is not fitting their size. It only fits the piglins. All other baby models wear them like a 5-year-old would wear teenage shoes as a joke/bit, but can't really use it. It seems quite jarring on anything but the piglins. Trims also no longer work on them. And their response was, so it fits. Sometimes you need to think about the holistic implications beyond just the individual asset. And so yeah, I think these new armor models are something very curious, and it really feels like the tail end of this drop is the bit where we're starting to be like, oh yeah, this isn't even necessarily the perfect part of what they're doing, but it is apparently one of the hardest parts. By the way, speaking of one of the hardest parts, I think that Mojang have for a long time found it hard to remove Herobrine. I mean, that's why they keep having to do it, right? But Seraph1A says, hot take, they should have never removed Herobrine, and fun fact, they uploaded a video on their channel today where Jeb said,
we often get the question, is Herobrine real or not? Well, who knows?
This is the sort of non-committal answer you kind of expect from the game director, but what's interesting is that we actually did get more direct responses from Jeb. First of all, with regards to his favorite F1 car. Yeah, I know that this is what you've been thinking of. Mega vs Prime asked which of these looks best to you, and Jeb says based on the picture, McLaren, and I think he's objectively right there, right? I mean, maybe you could argue Ferrari, but I think McLaren's the best looking car. and clearly, at least from last year, the most successful. But you know what else is most successful? Jeb's response to Shadowne666, who says, have you ever considered removing or adjusting the anvil level cap? It can feel a bit punishing in the late game, so I was wondering if there are any plans around that. And he says, not really, but I don't know what will happen in the future. The purpose of the cap is that all items are intended to be impermanent and that mending is a, quote, different issue. This is really intriguing, and he did respond to someone saying that, like, actually, removing mending would make people mad, and he agreed with that, and that is the kind of problem that Minecraft has. The entire design philosophy is around the idea that items should be impermanent. That's why we have durability, that's why we have the enchanting cap, that's why it's really expensive to stack those enchantments on there, but then there's also an enchantment that does the exact opposite, and this is maybe one of the problems with how game design works if there are just a bunch of people doing their own things, as opposed to the more modern system, which Jeb says right here is that now we don't have developers sharing what they're doing by themselves, because they'd rather have all the developers like communicate together about what they are going to share and when, and I thought that was hugely telling, and that's why we get videos like this one we just mentioned, yeah, look, tying it back into this video, where they spoke about how scary Minecraft is. If you're curious, in the video, they not only showed off the Garden Awakens drop again, which I think is hugely interesting, because I think that this last drop, maybe, I think the next drop maybe could tie into this in a big way, but I also think that what was interesting is they showed off a bunch of spooky Minecraft seeds like this one. I think I've shown this off on my own channel, actually. I thought this was a really, really funny thing to do, that Minecraft had a whole video about whether the game is a horror game, and actually showed off a bunch of seeds that are kind of scary in the meantime, but they also came to this conclusion.
So, is Minecraft a horror game?
I think that's for you to decide.
Well, that's a non-committal answer if I've ever heard one, but what I did think was interesting was that they used this video talking about how scary Minecraft is, the usual developer conversations that we've seen, usually to talk about the game and sometimes even announce new things, and they used this as an opportunity to promote, that's right, marketplace maps. Do you have a hunger for more horror? Check out the horror add-ons mentioned in the video, is right down here in the description. And so, okay, this is maybe the downside of Minecraft having so many social media channels, is sometimes they're talking about the future of the game, and sometimes they're promoting the marketplace, and it's actually hard to tell which of those two things is happening at the same time. Like, did you know Minecraft spoke about vertical slabs recently, and you know where you can get yourself some vertical slabs? By using the IBX Toy Maps catalog. Sorry, that was the joke there, is I'm promoting the marketplace instead of talking about future Minecraft updates. But you know what else is a joke? This interesting, update that just came out, 26.0, because this update has been surprisingly controversial for a few reasons. I mean, Minecraft 26 looks inside Bedrock Edition only. A lot of people are confused about a Bedrock only update. A lot of people have been confused about the version number, which is interesting because, as the Ender664 says, where have you guys been for the last half a year? We knew it was going to be like that for a while now, but what's interesting is how many people, even on this channel where we go into basically every beta, besides this last one, on this channel we cover most of the betas, but even then people are very surprised when an update comes out and it contains those features from the betas. If you're curious, that is the reason that we can actually produce those videos even while I'm away, like we did with the 26.0 video, although it was quite confusing to find out that update 26.0 did not include its primary features. The party mode and the closed captions were removed from it at the very last minute, no warning, no notification, and I think that that's a wild change that I have to reference here. It's obviously a pinned comment, so you know about it by now, but Minecraft 26.0 is missing its core and major feature, and I think that's a shame because accessibility shouldn't wait just for the sake of making sure releases are consistent with Java, in my opinion, but that's a different point for a different time. Anyway, with that said, let's move into the other thing about 26.0. In that video, you might remember me referencing the stripped wood textures, and if you have used this block, you'll notice that all of your builds have massively changed. Here's what the stripped wood, this is dark oak and spruce, I believe, what would have looked like before 26.0, and here's what they look like after. This was posted to Reddit by Nick P1, and tens of thousands of people upvoted this and had their own thoughts on it, but what I thought was funny was one of the top comments saying this: I'm a Java player and I only know about this change because I watched an IBX Toycat video, and I think it's funny just how many people there are like that are like, yeah, I only know about Bedrock because I watched this channel, otherwise I play Java. And so, I want to say, thank you, all of you, and I appreciate you deeply in my heart, and that's why I need to leave you with this last take, the opposite of the start, because KMB600 has a really insightful comment in my opinion. They say, I feel like this drop has been the weakest out of all of the drops so far in terms of features. Feels like they're relying heavily on the new baby's cuteness to get players' attention and perhaps saving their development efforts for the next drops. This really does feel true to me. If I'm going to be entirely honest with you, I think that they are really trying to just have a art-only drop so that they can save their development effort for next time. Maybe that's why we have a reference to the last big drop, the Garden Awakens, in the most recent Minecraft video, but I also sometimes think like maybe this is just how drops go. Minecraft needs to have new content sometimes, but also sometimes they need to update and maintain major parts of the game that otherwise will be stuck in 2009 and 2010, and obviously that's why we need a combat update. God damn it, Mojang, it's been so long. We need that second hand, the baby hand if you will, the one that can do your other tasks. This is the time to seriously be considering that. But more seriously, to come back to KMB's comment, I do think it is quite likely that we are going to be seeing a big drop after this one, but we probably are going to have to wait for Minecraft Live for that, so I'll be following along with the last couple of betas for the baby drop, and we're going to be getting the name for that and everything soon. But I'll be honest with you, I am excited mostly for the golden dandelion. I'm excited mostly for the name tag recipe change. Everything else is to me like a texture change. It doesn't impact how I play the game at all, but I guess this has to be done at some point, just like how that spruce stripped texture would need to be changed as well. Speaking of things that need to be changed, it is Valentine's Day, and so we need to change the fact that no one's wished you a happy Valentine's yet. You can be my Valentine's, and with that said, I look forward to seeing you on my stream tomorrow, because I am back, my CPU is functional, my PC is all together, and I'm excited to see you then. Goodbye.